So welcome to part 1 of the engine strip. So I've just took the ignition cover off, along with sprocket and sprocket guard. So one thing I've noticed, which doesn't seem quite right to me, is there's a lot of play on that spline there. Hopefully that's a sprocket. I'll have to have a look at the output shaft when I get in there. And just when I took the ignition cover off, this fell out. Now, I have no idea what that is. It was sat just here. And that doesn't. This looks very close to me as well, to where next to the clutch rod. My next plan is going to remove the barrel. Probably remove the head first, then the barrel, and just have a look at the piston. And then for today, I'll call it a day. But this video will carry on to the next day. So this is a couple of days later. A bit of progress. So as you can tell, the barrel is off. The crank itself, there is no play in there. A little bit side to side, which you'd expect. But if you can have a look here, the piston is actually cracked on both sides. And there's scoring on the piston. This piston does look very old. Not sure what make it is. I guess it looks cheap, so I'd say Mataco or something like that. But the downside of this is, see if we can see, there's scoring in the barrel. So more than likely I'm going to have to send this off to get it honed and re-nickel sealed, I'd imagine. But that's for a later date. Also, I have repaired the exhaust, which is not the best repair in the world, but it saves buying a new one. It looks a bit naff that side, I think, but it should hold it. It's better than it was. So that's repaired. Now I've just got to this point where I'm about to take the clutch off. I didn't have a socket, so I've had to wait a couple of days to go work and grab one. And that's about all there is at the moment. Looking at the head looks right. There's been something happened in here before, as you can tell from the large chunk taken out the top of the head, but it's nothing that's going to affect it too badly. So that looks all right. What else have I done? Clean the swing arm up a little bit. It does look a lot better. It's not finished yet. I'm going to get some proper aluminium cleaner on it. And that was just done with WD-40 and Scotch-Brite. So we've got a load of parts that need cleaning there. I've ordered some rust remover, I think it's by Pro Green, and we'll see how that turns out. Because obviously that's in a very bad way at the moment. I'm going to blow that dent out as well. I've got the kit for that. So yeah, it's all go at the moment. So next up, I'm going to take the clutch off and this side of the housing, and I'll catch up with you then. So we're going to have the clutch cover off. I don't know what's going on with the gaskets here, but this wasn't from me. Someone has snapped this before, which I hate drilling bolts out, but we'll get it out. And I've just, what's that, silicone. So what we've got here is we've got the kickstart, idler gear. This is the gear changing shaft, and this goes through onto your gear lever. This is just a stopper so it doesn't jump around in gears. This is your crank, power valve, and if you look on here, water pump, and the bearing for the other side of the power valve drive. As you can tell by looking in there, someone has been in here before and not changed any of the bolts they've rounded off. So that's going to be fun. The best way to get them out would be an impact drive. So yeah, so the next thing I'm going to have to do is kickstart off, gear linkage off essentially, and then we can get ready to go around the other side to strip that side down. There you can see into the crankcases there. So yeah, only nuisance there is the rounded bolts and the snap bolts, but this is what you get when you buy a 21-year-old bike. So let's carry on and see how far we get. So thanks to whoever put that in before, that's now going to be drilled. It's a bit of a shame. All has gone pretty smoothly other than these bolts here. It looks like there's done some welding around there before, which looks a bit suspicious. It certainly doesn't look factory. That's how they've done it anyway, but it's around the bottom as well. Yeah, so someone's been in there before and not done a very good job. So I think I'm going to have to drill that, which is not what I wanted to do. But I haven't really got any option, as it's badly rounded. So I'm going to have to drill that out and move on to the other side. So we're actually here on another day now. We're getting somewhere. I got stuck yesterday due to being unable to take the flywheel nut off, and also the crank nuts on the other side, which I'll spin around in a second. They were unbelievably tight, so I had to use a nut gun to get them off. But now, so we're getting somewhere now. We're slowly. I mean, I'm about to split the cases. Everything's looking, that's a little bit worn, but not worn enough to worry about. As you can see, they're very grotty. Noticed this earlier on the cases, which is JB Weld, so something's happened there. Doesn't look in the best condition, but I don't think I'm bothered about it because it's going to be a fortune to sort of start repairing things like this. Obviously, at the start of these videos, I said, there's one side, there's a clutch. I said that there's going to be a job to prove that you can do it in the garage, where I have been to work a few times to do certain things, so it's not been that easy. But to split the cases, I think I'm just going to do it a bit of an old-fashioned way, really. Try and not spend loads of money on pullers. See if I can tap it off. If I can't do it, I'll have to think of another way. But I'm going to undo all the bolts and see if it will go. If it doesn't go, it'll probably be another day before I get onto it. Spin the cases round to show you where the issues have been. We've managed to get this screw out that was up there. As you can see, lots of Loctite, the one that was rounded off. That was loose anyway, really, but it just needed a bit of a tap to get it going, so we sort of chiseled it round. This is the nut that goes on here, the bolt that goes on here. I'll show you that there. So this is where it seals. Obviously, there's a bit of wear on there, but nothing. I don't think it's going to cause any issues. That sits in there. That was obviously very tight. Couldn't undo that with a spanner, so nut gun it was. So yeah, so next up is split the cases. Okay, so we're now splitting the cases. I've got the cases going, but it seems to be stuck a bit more on this side here. To get the case, I'm not using a puller. Basically, I've wound the bolt in onto the crank side, all the way in. Copperite hammer, good firm whack on the side, which has got it that far. I'm not too sure how I'm going to go about breaking that. I'm going to keep going on the crank a little bit more and see if it goes. I'm assuming it's going to be the gearbox holding that in a little bit, but we will see. And hopefully we'll get the crank out in no time at all. So yeah, I'm going to give it a bit more stick, shall we say. So the cases are split. After splitting the case, I just noticed that someone's been in here trying to port it a little bit on the reed intake side. Same on this side as well, which I can't say I'm too pleased about. I'd rather it had been standard, but hopefully it doesn't look like the best port job either because there's sharp edges and all sorts on it. But hopefully that won't cause too much hassle. I mean, there's a bit of damage on here as well, which I don't really know what that's from. Can't really tell. I haven't took the crank out yet. Here's the crank. So we've got the gearbox. Here's your selector drum, selector fork pins, and then you got one selector fork here and two there and there. The gearbox is going to come out. I'm going to check the gearbox on this bike because Suzuki's have a tendency to chew up gears and then they start jumping out of gear and all sorts. So just to be on the safe side, I'll get that checked, and that's pretty much the engine strip done really. I'm going to knock this crank out, which should take 2 seconds really. this was what was causing the hold up on the back, which is why I was struggling to get it off. This dowel on the rear of the case, which is where your swing arm goes through. I think that's about it. Get the box out, crank out, and they're going to send these cases away for aqua blasting or aqua honing. There's loads of different, vapor blasting. There's loads of different names for it. And feeling that main feels a little bit clunky, but it's all right. And we'll go from there. So I'll take the crank out and then we'll have a look at that and see what the plan is after that. So this next clip is called How to Piss Your Girlfriend Off. What we want to do is remove these bearings. We've also got quite a few in there, and there's some blind ones as well. I'm getting a puller, but I'm trying to get them out without a puller. What we're going to do is heat the cases up in the oven. I think I've got it set at about 160 degrees centigrade, and we're going to be doing it for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something, just until they're warm. Hopefully they should either drop out, or we give them a tap. I'm going to come in with some sockets in a second, tap them out, worst case scenario. So I'll let you know how we get on. So we have had mild success. We've still got one bearing in there which is blind, and there's another one on the other side which is blind. I would pick it up, but it's a bit too hot. Looking at the cases, you can tell someone's been in here before. What's that? We've got marking on the inside there, which, whether the big end's gone before, I don't know. More marking here. This is for your, we'll just say input shaft, and the clutch rod goes to the centre there. I just noticed this is quite cool as well. So for the oil to get to this bearing, it looks like they made a little scoopy area here, and that runs down and comes out of that hole just in there. But yeah, we've got majority of them out. Crankshaft's out. I'll probably just change the rod on that. Seems a bit of a waste of money. It's not in terrible condition. The threads on the tip are all right. Clutch side's all right. So it just seems like a bit of a waste of money to buy a new crank. 3 feather bearings we're keeping. Just going to reuse them. I can't really see the point in changing them. They're not heavily loaded bearings. 3 that we're going to change are your 2 mains and the output shaft gearbox bearing, which is the sprocket side, just because it's, if you can see there, there's just a bit of rust on it, and you just think it doesn't feel the nicest. So I thought, last minute, it's daft not to. Gearbox itself doesn't look too bad. So I've not got the lights on, so it's a bit hard to see anything. But all the dogs look okay. No obvious heavy wear anywhere. I'm gonna have a bit better inspection of it later on, but so yeah, just gotta wait for a blind bearing puller and get these sent off. So there's no point in, I'll finish the engine strip video here because I've only got to get 2 bearings out, and I'll send these off for aqua blasting. The aqua blasting quote for these 2 cases, the clutch cover case and the head, was £120. So a bit more than I thought it was going to be, but it's not the end of the world. And that's it. So thank you for watching this engine strip video.